Hey, it's Joy Foster, founder of TechPixies and the host of the Sparkle and Thrive podcast. And we've got a beautiful story of transformation for you this morning. And I'm really excited, as always, to bring on an alumni of our programs, also current student in one of our more advanced programs. Tania Ross, welcome to the podcast. I know a lot of people in our community are looking forward to listening to this podcast, and many will be showing up live to support you. Thank you for being here today. And
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited.
You have just finished your social media internship at TechPixies. So you've been on the channels posting on Twitter/X in particular, which we've now just decided is not going to be a network we're going to use. We said goodbye to Twitter/X. It's just not a place we want to be. But you helped us do that shutdown. But you've also been in our community as a community manager, playing that role. Learning how to do community management. You've done a brilliant job there, and some very thoughtful responses that you've given people. So let's just start by, this morning when I was preparing for this interview, I thought I'll go back and read her starter survey, because everyone who comes into the TechPixies world, we send a starter survey. And people think we don't read those starter surveys. We do, we read them. But my favorite time to read the starter surveys is now, when I am talking to someone who's gone through they've done the work, they've gone through the transformation. This is my favorite time to talk to you. So let's go through some of the responses you gave. There were two in particular. One was that when you joined us, you did not have steady income or employment. And the other one was you did not have a home that you could call your own. So before we get into what happened in your life and how things have changed and what part TechPixies might have played in that, can you just talk a little bit more about that? What that was like to not have steady employment and to not have a home you could call your own?
Well, I mean, it was really the worst time of my life, to be honest. I was in the middle of a really messy, difficult divorce. My mental health had hit rock bottom just 4 months before I found TechPixies. I was an inpatient in hospital and in the worst possible place. I was just terrified about knowing how I was going to support myself and my children. I didn't know where I was going to live. I didn't know that I was going to be able to afford to buy anywhere, because obviously house prices in London are so high. And I was just in a place of mourning the future I thought I was going to have, and really just in quite a head spin. I did not know what was going to happen, and it was really a difficult time.
When you describe that, I can feel I can feel the despair in that, how difficult that would have been.
Really was, and because we were doing a nesting arrangement, and my business, I was running an Ofsted outstanding childcare business from home, which had to come to an abrupt end because of the divorce. And I was moving house every week, but I had nowhere fixed to go because I didn't think I could afford to pay for somewhere. I later discovered that I could get some benefits, which was a huge relief. I actually had the support of an amazing benefits officer at Springfield Hospital in Tooting. And he said, well, if you say that the rented place is technically your full-time accommodation, we can do it. So that then gave me a bit of stability. But up until that point, I was relying on friends and couch surfing and doing pet sitting. And in a way, the benefit that came out of that was it taught me such resilience, and it taught me to believe in the universe providing, because I would have to, I put out messages to everybody I knew and said, I'm homeless, I need somewhere to stay. Let me know if you're going away. Let me know if you're traveling. And people came up with the goods, and I had some extraordinary kindness shown to me, which was wonderful.
Well, I mean, you deserve all the kindness that comes your way. I've gotten to know you over the period of time we've worked together, between the social media management certification, the dream builder, and now business beyond social, as well as the internship. You really are someone who's taken full advantage of TechPixies and has seen the benefit of that. I always say the work, if you do the work works. Sometimes we'll get people who, I had someone on the last launch so a launch is when we open up the doors to our program. I had someone on our last launch who said, well, what if I get in 2-3 months and I decide it's not right for me and I want to cancel. And I said, because we have a no refund policy. And I said, well, then don't do the course. Like, if you think you're going to cancel 2-3 months in, don't do the course. Like, I was really open. You're not the right student for us. What we say is, if you do the work works. And I know that if people actually get into the content, apply the content, use the methodology, they will get results. I mean, you now have a steady place to live that you own, and you also have income coming in regularly through copywriting and other sources. So what changed for you? Can you walk us through how TechPixies in particular played a role in that? I mean, obviously you had to do the work. I mean, I want to really stress this. Like, you showed up for the coaching calls. You got all the certification. You did the work. In fact, I heard something yesterday in this book I'm listening to called Conscious Loving. He was talking about how it's in a relationship, it's a 200% effort, 100% from both sides. Instead of trying to be this, like, it's 100% and you're doing 50 and we're doing 50, it's like both sides show up and do 100%, you get results. And I feel like, Tania, you showed up 100% and we showed up 100%, and that's why it worked. So talk about what you think what helped you along the way.
Well, I mean, when I found TechPixies, it was one of your Facebook ads popped up. I had, while I was childminding, I had a side hustle writing erotica, just for a bit of fun. And so a fairly new friend that I met as I was going through the divorce, because I was getting used to going out as a single person instead of with my ex-husband, which was, a new thing to get used to as well. But she said, my friend Cheryl said, have you looked at copywriting? You're such a good writer. You should consider copywriting. And I was sort of going, what on earth is that? And then when I started finding out about it, I did a deep dive. I went down so many, rabbit holes, and I signed up for a course with the Comprehensive Copywriting Academy. And I really started digging into marketing and understanding the concepts and the psychology, and was really excited by it. But quite quickly, I started to realize I don't really get this whole social media thing. How does this all fit together? Like, how does a website work with a blog or with social media and with other places that you show up? So I had this massive crisis of confidence and thinking, I'm not going to be able to do this. I'm a fraud, I'm, massive imposter syndrome. And really that's when TechPixies came along, and it just was like light bulb. Oh my God, I need to do this. So I did the boot camp. I think what I've got from TechPixies is obviously the massive sense of community. It gave me back the ability to believe in myself and believe in my own capacity, the own power that I held within me that really had vanished. I had lost access to it because I was in such a traumatized state. I was just sort of living in such fear. So it was finding a community, and your eternal positivity and encouragement was just incredible. And I was on the same boot camp with Claire Louise, and she and I have just been like peas in a pod, sort of supporting each other along the way and championing each other. And I don't know what I'd have done without her.
You do the work works. You are someone who had everything going against you, and yet you showed up. And that to me is huge.
Yeah, I mean, every week I was moving and I was lugging books of paperwork from your course, from my copywriting course, and then benefits forms and divorce forms, and I was having to lug it all with me every time I moved. Then when I got a stable place to live, I had this wonderful room in the top of a house with a little landing that I could use as my office and beautiful light. And that gave me a bit of stability, and it meant I could focus. And having the course and the work and the videos to watch, to focus on, and the coaching calls to show up for, really gave me a sense of purpose, along with other things. I go to yoga and the gym and things like that. It was just having that sense of routine gave me back a feeling of worth again, because when I was on benefits and not knowing what I was going to do, it was not having that routine and sense of direction. It compounds really, and you end up going down and down and down. So the combination for me of the life coaching, where we talk about imposter syndrome, we talk about mindset, we talk about how we can access our inner resilience and switch the narrative in our heads. And I remember some key moments when I really felt that mindset shifting. And one of them was on a vision workshop, and doing that time machine. And initially it felt so painful and impossible to try and imagine my future. But actually some of the vision that I created when we did that has actually borne out, which just blows my mind. I'm now sitting in my lovely office in my 4-bed house, and I'm looking out onto my garden, and there are trees, and there's greenery, and I just love it. Yeah, I can't believe it sometimes. But I mean, what I also did was, I really took the opportunity. I thought, right, I need to do lots of learning. While I was going through the divorce, it became apparent that both of my children were having real struggles with their mental health. And I realized that they were both neurodiverse. And so we started the process of getting assessments. And since they've both been diagnosed autistic, and my eldest also has ADHD. So I did an autism awareness course, level 2, with a government funded thing. And while I was doing it, I was thinking, I wonder, can I turn this into something? And I sort of feel like I manifested. So I now have a new job as a peer educator, supporting autistic families. It's an NHS funded project. And I'm also using my childminding knowledge, because I'm working as a mentor for the Department for Education. So, way back when we did that vision, I was thinking,
I'm trying not to cry here, Tania.
I know.
Whoa. Beautiful.
When you did that vision with me, and I was sort of imagining, I want a sort of a portfolio career of doing things that I enjoy and I can give back a bit. You're making me cry now.
I'm sorry.
It's all right. And it's happening. I'm doing it. And then the icing on the cake was you asking me to do the internship and being part of the TechPixie team and seeing how things go on in the background, all the laughs that we have, on the weekly meetings, has just been so wonderful, so nourishing, and it's really boosted my confidence no end. And it all feeds back into the reason I joined TechPixies, which was to understand how I could better serve my copywriting clients. And now I feel so much more confident if I'm on a one-to-one with someone, or I'm at a networking meeting, because I joined the Women in Business Network as well to try and really keep me meeting people and growing my network. I now feel that I can have these conversations with people in business and talk about their strategy for their marketing and be a true partner and add value. And so that's been incredible. I have worked already for a few clients, and I'm just sort of very slowly starting to build that up, but it all takes time. It takes much longer than you think.
Well, I was literally saying this morning on the first social media meeting you weren't on. So Tania's been, our internship is a 3-month process. So she's been on for a little bit more than 3 months. She's been on all these meetings with us. And so this morning was the first time you weren't on that internship meeting. We had our new intern, Dawn Taylor, who we're very excited about, was on that meeting. But it's always hard for us when we have to say goodbye to an intern because we want to hire all of our interns. But the point of the internship is to give you an opportunity to see how the back end of TechPixies works, but also then how to you bring every intern brings something special to the table. But what I would say is we were talking about this morning because we were talking about this live that I was going to do with you, and we were talking about how transformation is not Amazon Prime, and I have said that for so long, but it's just so true. It's it's not instantaneous. It's a series of small mental shifts that you make that start to compound. It's like compound interest. So you start to make these small mental shifts. And they then compound and compound and compound. And then you wake up one day and you go, oh my gosh, everything that I wanted to have happen has started to happen or is happening or has happened. But it's a result of micro shifts over a longer period of time, not over a short period of time. So we were saying that we did an experiment in 2023 where we had sort of a shorter 6-week starter program, which actually ironically you came in on. But we decided that where we got the real results was our longer term programs, and we gave you the opportunity to go from that shorter program into the longer program on a pay it forward scheme, and you said yes please, which is amazing. So you're one of our first pay it forward scheme trial students, along with Claire Louise. You both were the first people that we put into that program, and you've both got tremendous results. And so I'm really proud of both of you for saying yes to an experimental program. But you've got that support. And what I love is with the pay it forward scheme, even though it's a longer period of time to pay and it's lower payments, once you start earning, you actually, like Tania, you're a perfect example of that. Once you started earning, you're like, Joy, please, can I pay more? And I want to pay it off on early. And, so now we've got you on a payment plan where within a year, you're going to be completely paid up and you benefit from all the discounts of that. And that just is just so cool. And I love that you were able to do that. So there's tremendous power in being able to do that for yourself, but also
empowering. It's so empowering. It really is. I mean, I have got so much from being in the community, and it's really helped my confidence. And being part of the team with doing the internship has been wonderful because I've made so many lovely connections with people. People have appreciated my input. I've really enjoyed championing everybody. And seeing some of the patterns in people's thoughts as to where I was. And yeah, you're right. It's sort of, it builds and builds and builds. The more positivity you can find and access and start to practice, the fewer the ants, the automatic negative thoughts. And it is incredibly powerful. I think the Dream Builder was also instrumental in helping me to really put down the victim story of, the divorce and how awful I felt about how I was being treated and the things that had happened in the marriage. Because I realized that it was appealing, to tell people that story, because people would always respond and be so shocked, and it would give me attention. And I remember it was a call I was on with you, and you were talking about, well, let's change your narrative. Let's tell a different story that, people will still pay attention to, but for maybe better reasons, that will give you some bolstering. And that was quite instrumental in it was a big wake-up call to go, I can change this narrative and start to think more positively and start to dream big. And I think one of the practical things that you gave me was also keep taking actions. So, I was hustling hard. I didn't think I was going to afford to buy somewhere. I had 8 mortgage brokers. I was, like a Rottweiler. I wasn't going to give up. And then I found this house, which is incredible because it's Lavender Grove is the name of it. And I've always loved purple, as you can maybe see. Um, and that made me even more determined. And I still couldn't afford it. And I kept on hustling and I just said yes. I just kept saying yes and saying, this will all work out. I believe that I am going to make this happen. I don't have all of the information to know exactly how it's going to work out, but I'm going to believe that it will. And it did. And I had some help from a family member that I was not expecting last minute that just made up the small shortfall. And I'm in my wonderful dream home.
That you own. That you
That I own.
own.
With a small enough mortgage that I can afford to still focus on my courses. I have time to focus on my children because they need a lot. And then the other thing that happened, which was part of the initial vision board, was my children had always wanted a pet. And we'd always said, no, we're all allergic, fur, mess and all of that and the cost. But I kept saying to my children, well, we'll find a way. We'll borrow a pet. We'll borrow my doggy or something. Well, we have a cat that lives next door that has basically adopted us. I mean, he's in my house now wandering about. And he spends every night with us. He sits on my lap and the children come back when they've done their week with their dad. And they're more or less, they walk straight past me to go find Gino the cat. But he's become such an important part of our lives. He's like glue, he's a real leveler. And he really helps my children feel calm and nourishment and love. And it's amazing.
Oh my gosh. Well, this has been such a special morning and you're getting a lot of love in the comments. First of all, I want to say thanks to everybody. I know Kelly really wanted this to get pre-promoted, which we're not great at pre-promoting. So we did much better this time.
And I did put it out on my socials as well. You'll be proud of me.
I saw. I love that. Well, so Esme says the vision workshop is such a valuable thing to do. And actually, the week that your podcast goes out to our audience, we're going to be inviting people to the new version of the vision workshop. So it'd be, if you're listening to this and you want to come and join us on our Dream Builder Bootcamp, that's what we're doing. So you can check that out. Jillian says, it's so amazing how far you come. And it's all you. And it's true. It's a combination of you doing the work, but then also, if you hadn't signed up, none of this would have happened for you. So it's that combination, right? And then Claire Louise says, I'm in tears just listening to all your huge wins. You truly are a special person and a great partner in believing. And partners in believing, something we talk about in Dream Builder all the time, people that you believe in, even if they don't believe in themselves. And you and Claire Louise have been able to do that for each other. And Dawn, our new intern, says, you are such a vibrant part of the TechPixie community and so supportive of us all. I love that so much. And then Carolyn Boddington says, yes, I got to watch this live. And yeah. And just so everyone knows, our new live podcast time, in case you want to join us, is on Mondays at 10:15. So sometimes we pre-record, but we try and do a live almost every week. So listen, first of all, I just, I want to say, first of all, you're one of the best huggers that I've ever met in my life. I have a couple friends who are really good huggers. And when we had our Christmas do, because you were an active member of the team at that point on the internship, you came along to that.
That was incredible, Joy. I was so excited. You have no idea how much that meant to me to be part of a team and to be invited to a Christmas lunch. I was just so excited. And then to meet you all in person, it was amazing.
Well, you can thank Anne-Marie for that, because we used to do a team Christmas lunch every year. And then when COVID hit, I stopped doing it. Yeah. And so we had not done it in 2020. I guess we probably hadn't done it in 2021, 2022, 2023. So it was almost 4 years since we'd done the last one. So I was That was Anne Marie's idea, and she's
Wow.
new on our support team, although she's been in TechPixies for quite a few years. But that was, that was special that we did that, and I'm glad that we did that, and it was wonderful to have you there. But so I just, first of all, I just want to say I'm grateful to you as a human being. I think you have been a great addition to our community. I think it has been incredible to watch you go on this journey of transformation. And my favorite part about doing this work is that I know it will work out because I've seen it so many times before. But when you work with someone and they have not yet had that transformation, they go through they have their wobbles along the way. But you never gave up. You never ever gave up. And like you said, you had 8 mortgage brokers working on it, like no stone unturned. Do what you can with what you have, with where you're at, and hold space for that vision. And you did, and you had support along the way as well.
So many wobbles, but there were so many people in the community. You, Catherine and Kelly, when I've been part of the team, but Claire, I could always reach out to, all the wonderful women in my star pod that were also encouraging and supportive. Now on BBS, Nicola Walsh, who's been helping me set up my website, Kirsty Vandenbalk, who's just such a great champion for neurodiversity. There are just so many women, amazing, supportive people who've got answers. I think it teaches you. It was one of the first things I realized in the divorce. I can't do this on my own. I have to learn to ask for help, because I've always been sort of furiously independent. I can do everything. And you kind of go, no, actually, you have to have some humility and recognize that you have a certain skill set. And I don't know that yet, but I'm going to ask someone. I'm going to help. It was your thing of keep taking action steps, no matter how small. So I'd have, like huge lists of things that I needed to do, and it would all be so completely overwhelming. And I would just go, okay, just ask one person or send one email or make one phone call. It's still one action step. And that has stayed with me, particularly like learning to deal with my own ADHD, in realizing that your to-do list never goes away. It's always going to be there. But, your thing of pick 3 things, you just focus on the priorities. What do you have to do today? What do you have to do now? The rest will follow. And that's been really hugely helpful.
Yeah, I think that is huge. Just knowing that you can break that list down, you can schedule it out over a period of time, and okay, I'm going to do all these things, and I know when I'm doing them, and that makes it a lot easier. And we do have quite a lot of neurodiversity within our community. Obviously, I have discovered in my own journey that I am neurodiverse. One of the things that we are very open about is in the community is that sort of conversation and helping people. The number of people who've come into our community and didn't know they were neurodiverse and then discovered that they were neurodiverse, it's huge. And this is partly because there's a big gap in diagnosis for neurodiversity for women. So basically for the last 20, 30 years, women were not diagnosed with ADHD. So you've got an entire group of women in their 40s and 50s who are now being diagnosed, who are missed as, children and teenagers, myself being one of them.
But the other big problem is, even when you get diagnosed, there's just such a lack of support, as I've discovered for my children, which is why this peer educator program exists. And so I like to just talk about it as much as possible and give back and share. And I've realized that a number of my friends have it, and one of my partners, and it is just, it's everywhere. And the more we talk about it, the more we normalize it, the more we can all feel empowered and not crippled by it, because it can be so overwhelming when you get into your head around it and think, oh, well, I'm a failure. I've never done anything well, and you have all this narrative, and then you have to remind yourself, no, wait, this isn't you talking. You have got the skills, you have got the capacity. Just break it down into smaller steps.
Absolutely. And celebrating the wins along the way.
Yeah, that's my favorite, part of TechPixies. I mean, I think everybody loves that Friday wins that we do, and in the SMT meeting that we had each week, that I'm now not part of. But I love that you do that for your team as well, and it's so powerful. And I always tell my friends, you've got to notice your wins, because you can be so close to the coalface that you don't notice what you've achieved.
Well, we now are on our 191st week. 191 weeks of
That's
capturing wins
great.
for our team. And we do not just the business win, but we do a personal win. So everyone talks about a personal win and everyone talks about a business win. And I just think that was actually one of my mentors back in 2019 taught me that. And obviously we've been doing it since then. It's invaluable because when you can see your success over time, you get more confident that you'll continue to have success. You know, the grateful mind starts to look for great things. And
Yes. Yeah.
that's what we're training ourselves to do. So, you know, I think interesting thing about the neurodiversity side of things, it's similar to fear. You can have fear, but you don't let fear have you. You can have neurodiversity, but you don't let it defeat you. And it's this
Mm.
idea that, you know, once you know you are neurodiverse, then it's not like, oh, okay, well, that's an excuse for everything. It explains the behavior, and it explains the way you react or respond to things. But then you still have to make an active choice that I now need to learn to. I'm not going to use this as a crutch or an excuse as to why I can't do something.
Yeah.
I'm going to use that as a springboard to, like, okay, now what things can I do to really
Yeah,
capitalize on that?
absolutely. Like, what's your strategy going to be to face the overwhelm? I mean, I've been lucky enough at the moment to get some coaching with Gemma Salt, who's also another wonderful tech pixie, and she has been really great. And she's offered to be an accountability coach, which also helps because then it forces you to think, okay, what have I achieved, and what's my next thing, and what's my priority. And to have a bit of focus. So that's been really valuable.
All right. Well, now some people may have picked up on the fact that you are a copywriter professionally now, as well as doing the work with the Department of Education and autism awareness. So tell people where they can find out about your copywriting service and how they can connect with you if they would like to take advantage of your
So
incredible.
my website is being prepared as we speak, so that will be ready soon. But I'm on Instagram at Tania Ross Copy, and I'm on LinkedIn as well. So you can find me there, and obviously I'm still hanging out in the Tech Pixie Community Hub, and love seeing everybody's achievements there.
Yeah, and you've been actively involved in Business Beyond Social as well. So you're learning how to build a business off the back of the social media training that you've had, which is super
Yeah,
exciting.
and I was thinking about this morning. You know, a lot of what I'm learning isn't just about what it benefits me in setting up my business. It's enabling me to have those relevant conversations with copywriting clients so that I can then help advise them on their strategy for how they want to market their business and where their efforts are best placed. So it's given me masses of confidence in being able to do that and work as a true sort of strategic partner when I'm developing copywriting projects with clients.
Yeah, because you're not just thinking, oh, what does the copy need to be for a social media post, but you're thinking all the way through the funnel
Yeah,
from the social media to the email to the sales page to the landing page to the website, all the
yeah.
parts.
The
Yeah.
newsletter, and just thinking, where are they at? You know, what's appropriate for the level of where their business is at? Because what you don't want to do is go into a small business owner and say, right, you've got to do social, you've got to do a blog, you've got to do a newsletter. That's too much. So generally with small business owners, I say, well, let's just start gradually. We can look at your About Me page because that's the most visited page of a website. And in copywriting terms, most people get that wrong. Your About Me page isn't about you. It's actually about how you serve your clients and writing it in such terms as you demonstrate that your business or service, whatever it is that you offer, your product, solves the problem of your ideal clients. And so it's really switching up that language so that it connects with a client's key audience, and that's really fun to dig in and do that research and find out all about someone's business. I mean, I'm a nurse originally, and I used to always say as a joke, well, I want to be a nurse so I can care for people. And actually, because I'm really nosy, I love finding out people's stories and, what makes them tick and what were their previous experiences, because it's all those previous experiences and stories that you bring that becomes part of your brand, actually. So that bit I really find quite exciting.
Oh, I love it. Well, there's a line in the Henry David Thoreau's quote where he says, as one advances confidently in the direction of their dream, endeavoring to live a life they love, they pass an invisible boundary. And you clearly have passed that invisible boundary, and they see success, unexpected success. And then what it says at the very end of that is they start to live licensed with a higher order of being. Would you say that you are now living life with a higher license of order of being, that you have this leveled up confidence that is now underlying everything you do, a foundation that is solid and that you can build on?
Yeah, I really would. I now go, wow, actually, I've got 4 jobs and I'm doing it. And I've planted my garden, which was a complete blank palette. And I've got now, I can see all the daffodil bulbs coming up and tulips. And that is a real analogy for I planted some seeds and now I'm watching them flourish and starting to emerge and soon to blossom. So, I still feel like I've got a huge mountain to climb in terms of where I want to be. But, self-compassion, kindness towards myself and recognizing how much I am juggling, trying to still set the home up and get decorating and sort appliances and all that kind of stuff, and being there for my kids who need an awful lot of support and guidance. But yeah, it's all good. I'm really excited about all the different things that I'm achieving, and leaning into my skill set. I used to work for 2 different charities, running information and support services. And so my mentoring role and my peer educator role really lean into those skills. So it's really gratifying to see the sort of skills being brought back in and coming back full circle.
Yeah, well, I always say you don't throw those skills out. People just forget that they're
Yeah,
there.
yeah. And when I first came to TechPixies and I started applying for jobs and I wasn't getting anywhere and it was quite soul destroying, and I was still sort of the mindset that no one's ever going to employ me. I'm not going to get a job. I'm not going to be able to support myself. And I was sort of going around in circles. But I can see that's not the right mindset, and that wasn't going to serve me.
But you've shifted the mindset, and
Yeah,
what I love is this is a new way of thinking that you can continue the rest of your life. That's
yeah.
that's what I think is so awesome.
And
But I
also
want to
to
acknowledge,
champion that for my children as well,
yeah,
to model that for them to have seen me in the worst possible state where I was crying all the time, didn't know how I was going to support them, to now saying, right, girls, I've got a meeting today and I'll be out at this time and I'm networking at that time and look at my website.
that's really special. That's probably the
Mhm.
most special part of all.
Yeah, yeah. I wanted
Yeah.
them to be proud of me. So
Well, they should be proud of you, and we are proud of you. And also, I just want to, we've got a live up on Instagram right now, and some beautiful comments coming in from Instagram. Amazing, Tania, you've come so far. Brilliant inspiration. And that's from Annabelle. And then Sue says, well done, Tania. Love what you've achieved. And Kate Banks says, what an inspiration.
thank
Um,
you.
and of course, Denise Fishburne, one of your BBS buddies, says, lovely to hear your full story and well done on all you've achieved. Well, on that note, we're going to wrap up. But Tania, thank you so much for saying yes to this. I know it took several months of courage to get to this place, but you're here
Great
now.
answer on. I've got my cup of courage.
You've got your cup of courage.
Yeah.
And even Mary also joins and says, absolutely awesome and encouraging, Tania. So this was a real blessing to get to hear this story. And I hope that you know now how impactful your transformation has been, not just for yourself, but for everyone else around you. You've shined a light for people in our community to say, this is what's possible when you do the work, and you have done the work. And I am so proud of you.
Thank you so much, Joy. Couldn't have done it without you.
100%, 100%, 200%.
Yay!
Yay! All right. Thanks so much. All right. Let me just say that was a very special podcast for me. Partly because we had such a huge live audience. Thank you so much for that gift. I was not we had people on Instagram, we had people on YouTube, we had people on LinkedIn, we had people on Facebook. That was really fun, and thanks to Kelly Austin for promoting that a little bit early. We will get better at pre-promoting our live podcasts. If you want to listen to them live, join us on Monday mornings. We're usually there around 10:15, run until about 11 o'clock. And so feel free to come and join us for that. If you want to listen to them live, you can also watch them on our website. If you go to techpixies.com/blog, you will get all of our videos that we've done over time. It's also all on our social medias. And of course, YouTube is where we are working really hard to build up to 500 subscribers. So if you have not subscribed to us yet on YouTube, please help us get to 500 subscribers. We were at 493 this morning. We only need 7 more of you amazing people to subscribe to us on there. And of course, we have been using the podcast up until now to very much showcase the incredible students that have come through our program. And I love showcasing our incredible students. But if you have other ideas for the podcast, or if you have a request for a topic or a guest, you can always email us at support@techpixies.com. We will have a social media trends series coming out in the next few weeks. So make sure that you are paying attention to that if you're interested in what's going on in the social media world. And of course, if you're interested in our Dream Builder program, or our social media management certification, or our Business Beyond Social program, if you need life coaching, social media coaching, or business coaching, you can go to techpixies.com to find out more, or you can email us directly at support@techpixies.com, and we'll connect with you one-on-one and make sure that we get you supported the best way that we can support you. Thanks for listening. Thanks for participating. Thanks for engaging and commenting and supporting Tania. And so many of her friends were here today, and she's a very special person, and she deserves all that love and more. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a great, wonderful day, and I hope that you enjoy listening to the podcast on our next podcast that'll be coming out next week.